Now we're going to look at rulers in Flash and the units that Flash uses for measurement. Because the settings for measurement units in Flash are document specific and not a Flash program setting, we're also going to look at document properties, because the document settings dialog box is where these settings are located. First things first, let's turn on the rulers. Choose View and Rulers. On a PC, you can do this quickly by hitting Ctrl-R. On a Macintosh, it's Command-R. Now we can see our rulers at the top and left of this stage. I'll zoom out a step and turn off the visibility of some things on my stage, and we can see that the 0 point or origin of each ruler is aligned with the top left corner of our document. Return to Start, and now Save. And Info, or Control-Alt-I on a PC, Command-Alt-I on a Macintosh. Looking down in the bottom right-hand corner of the Info panel, we can see some X and Y values. Move your mouse cursor around the stage and you can see these change. Flash can always tell us the current X and Y coordinates of our mouse, and these are in inches because our rulers are set to inches. Now we're going to need to change that because I don't like to work in inches. So let's open the Document Settings dialog box. We have three ways of doing that. The easiest way is from the timeline. Look here and you'll see that we have a frames per second or frame rate display, and mine is currently set at 10. Simply double click this and the Document Properties dialog box will open. The second way to do this is from the Properties Inspector. Make sure that nothing on the stage is selected, and you can see a button here labeled Size. Click that and the same thing happens. The third way to do this is from the File menu. Choose Modify and Document, or Control-M on a PC, Command-M on a Mac. Okay, the first setting here we're going to look at is right down the bottom, Ruler Units. It has a drop-down box, and we can set the units of our rulers to any one of 6 different units. I'm going to choose pixels, and I always use pixels. Unless you're going to be printing your Flash content, this is always the best choice, because most Flash content is going to end up on an end user's monitor screen. And because we have no way of knowing what resolution the end user is going to have their monitor set at, pixels is the only definitive unit of measurement we can use. So set that to pixels, and now you'll see our rulers have changed and our XY coordinates here have changed as well. And that's it for working with rulers and units in Flash. So for the rest of this lesson, we're going to look at document properties. Open the Document Properties dialog box again, and let's have a look through here. You can give your document a title and description. This only goes into the metadata of the SWF file. That's the .swf file that you export at the end, and it's not displayed. We can set document dimensions, and I usually work at 800 by 600 for these VTC training courses. And you can set Flash to match the size of your stage to either your printer, which I can't do because I currently don't have a printer installed, or the contents of your movie, or you can set it to the default of 550 by 400. Now this contents option is fairly handy because, as you can see here, my top content here extends past the edges of the stage. So if I set this to contents, Flash will automatically set the dimensions of my document to match the contents. Straightforward, but fairly handy. We can set a background color here, either choose from the swatches or type in a hex value. And finally, we have a frame rate. I'm going to be talking more about frame rates later on in this course, but the Flash default is 12, and for many applications that's fine. And that's it for rulers, units, and document properties.